Good evening. This is TV47 Weekend Edition. It's my hope that you have had a great Sunday. I am here ready to keep you posted as to what is happening around you and beyond. And speaking of beyond, in Tanzania, upon that declaration by the Electoral Commission that President Samia Suluhu managed to get the election, of course, at 98%, and not just get it, but she was declared the president-elect. I mean, chaos continue to erupt in this nation, and we will be crossing there shortly to speak to one of the editorial directors in the stations down there so that he can paint a picture of what the situation is like amidst talks that the president will be sworn in any time from now. Of course, what do the Tanzanians feel, especially acknowledging the type of constitution that they carry, where they say that once the election has been declared, there is no contesting the same in court. Hezron Obadiah is the editorial director that will be joining us to just paint a picture of what the situation is like now that it is not very clear upon that closure of the internet. We'll be crossing over there later on, but we still have so much that is lined up for you as to what is happening in the world of news, and therefore I welcome you to be part and parcel of this conversation. My name is Linda Alela. It is great to take you through, and so here are the top stories. Tonight, 4 more bodies pulled from the Chesongoch landslide, pushing the death toll to 26, as fears grow that more victims remain buried beneath the deadly mud. And Tanzania is on the edge. Protests erupt over President Samia Suluhu Hassan's landslide re-election, while wild leaders send congratulations. Domestic dissent deepens. Roll City night, Kenya's Helen Obiri storms to glory, winning the New York City Marathon in 2 hours, 10 minutes and 51 seconds. The first ever woman to run sub 2 hours 20 minutes on the NYC course. And Benson Kipruto seals his place in history, completing a clean sweep of the U.S. marathon majors after a thrilling sprint to victory in 2 hours, 8 minutes and 9 seconds. All right, welcome on board. It's great to have you. And of course, the TV47 Weekend Edition begins right away. As earlier mentioned, there is that interview that comes your way shortly as we cross over to Tanzania. I'll be having Valeno Owino as the sign language interpreter of the day. So do we have Hezron already?
Yes, right. I can hear you right and loud and clear.
Uh-huh. Yes, that is the voice of Hezron Obadiah, who is an editorial director, TV news production, as well as a content head in Tanzania. It's great to have you. We see terrible pictures, graphic to say the least, that are quite disturbing coming from Tanzania, or at least word has it that they come from Tanzania. Could you confirm what the situation is like there?
Yeah, basically, indeed, the situation is very tense in Dar es Salaam and major parts of Tanzania, especially major cities within the United Republic of Tanzania. This is because chaos are on, and demonstrations of protesters are still doing what they've been doing since declaration of the results and since the voting day on Wednesday 29th. And what they're doing, or they're protesting against both the voting process and also the declaration of the results as by the INEC declaring the President Samia Suluhu as president-elect.
All right, and while they contest, just how much can they go with this? Because then we understand what the Constitution dictates down there, that once a president has been declared, it becomes tricky for anyone to go to court to challenge the same. Just how far can they take this?
Basically, according to the protesters, they're saying they are going to demonstrate, they are going to protest until and unless the president resigns or step down from their position. Because what they're saying is abductions have been the order of the day, and more or less they are targeting especially leaders and businessmen and even artists who are sympathizers or affiliated to the ruling party CCM. Most recent case is whereby they have attacked a business related to a leading musician of Tanzania, Diamond Platinum, despite his effort to delete some of the pictures that he took when he was campaigning for the CCM. That fall on the deaf ears as demonstrators and protesters invaded his properties and destroyed and touched some of the offices belonging to the Wasafi TV brand. Yeah. So things are really tough, as well as in Mbeya, they have invaded and torched the residence of the Speaker of the National Assembly, the Honorable Tulia Ackson, as well as properties and businesses belonging to the retired President Jakaya Mrisho Kikwete, as well as several ministers' belongings and vehicles belonging to MPs have been touched. Mm-hmm. So it's really a tense situation, right all the way from Malindi in the south of Tanzania through to Mtwara, back to Dar es Salaam, all the way to Mbeya, Songwe, all the way to Dodoma, as well as Tabora, Mwanza, Arusha, all over the country. Things are getting worse day in and day in, and they're saying they're not relenting until and unless the President of the United Republic of Tanzania steps down. Linda.
Have these protesters been mated by, any form of animosity from the forces of the land or perhaps the police?
Come again, Linda.
I'm asking, have the protesters been mated by any form of animosity from the authorities, the police, maybe?
Yeah. The police are using excessive force. Several shootouts have been reported. They are shooting the innocent and protesters without any valid reason. But the army now is out, so we're just waiting to see the situation, how it unfolds, because the army. Several voices from the army are warning the police not to shoot or to interfere with the protesters. But now, much being seen, the police are really using excessive force to shoot down and to silence those people who are demonstrating.
So, are there worries about further escalation?
Yeah. Tension is high, and escalation is inevitable from things how they are going, because they are saying even if it means the police killing them all, they are willing to risk their life, but they have to get their country back.
Okay. What does the newsroom look like? What is the newsroom like, at least right now? What is this that you are perhaps presenting to the people? Or, are the stations shut as the internet is?
Yeah, tension is very high, and apart from that, the internet, still there is total blackout in Tanzania, as well as the transport has been paralyzed across the country. More or less, we have the main road from Dar es Salaam to the Julius Nyerere International Airport has been blocked. There is a lot of several tourists and travelers who have been stranded at the Julius Nyerere International Airport, as well as Zanzibar, because several flights have been cancelled.
Any television broadcasts going on, or you people are not on at all?
It's a taboo later for any mainstream media to broadcast the demonstration of protesters. As even now, as we are speaking to you, we are fearing for our reporters. We cannot leave our reporters down, because even the protesters themselves have developed animosity on the media, mainstream media, especially ITV, TBC, the national broadcaster, as well as Azam TV, saying that they are sympathizers of the national of the president and the CCM ruling party. So they say they're not getting anything less unless these broadcasters come out here and cover and broadcast all of the demonstration.
All right. So President Samia Suluhu stands as the president-elect. I would call her president-elect. And what has it that she is going to be sworn in tomorrow? Could you confirm that? Where would it be happening, and what would it mean moving forward?
Yeah, from the sources within the government, though they have not made it official, it will happen at the state of Dodoma, and this means that just before she was declared the winner, or after she was declared winner in a acceptance speech, she vowed that after swearing in, or after she officially gets over the mandate, the second term mandate, that she's going to crack down and deal with the demonstrators and protesters mercilessly. So again, that sentiment has not gone well with the protesters, and they're saying they are ready for her, and they're going not to relent until she steps down. So her sentiments as well have accelerated, or have made the protesters go haywire.
Would we say that she's on duty right now? Is she deploying? Is she issuing orders now that she is just at that level of an elect president?
Yeah, she's on duty. She was in State House, Zanzibar, before she was declared winner. Then after she came to Dodoma, where she was declared, because as you may know, Dodoma is the capital city of the country. So that's where the INEC headquarters are, being led by the chairman of the INEC, Justice Jacob Mambegele. And be as it may, since her declaration, she has never left State of Dodoma. So it's clear from all indications that everything will be done, though quietly, but she may be thrown tomorrow at State of Dodoma.
Okay, so would you tell us what the mood is like, especially with the opposition, the Chadema side? I know they have issued their statement, and they speak of a massive number of fatalities or persons that have lost their lives. What is it like? Perhaps their number contradicting what it is that has been accorded by the human rights. But do you have, takwimu labda au numbers, the people that could have lost their lives so far?
Indeed, Linda, there is no correct, or there's no actual numbers, but just speculation. But from the communication of both human rights and the Chadema opposition party, and even from observers who are within the country, but again they are fearing to speak openly. The number is estimated to be about or above 800 people who have lost their lives. So it's not a joke. People are losing lives. They are shooting people in the head. It's a serious matter, and that's why the Chadema party and even some human rights commission are calling for the international community to intervene.
All right. Would you paint a picture of what maybe the basic towns in Tanzania could be looking like right now, or maybe now that you are literally locked from the movement and all that, it's difficult to quite know? To know?
Come again. I didn't get that, Alela.
I'm saying, could you paint a picture of what the main towns in Tanzania are looking like right now?
Well, there are few people moving around, but mostly is the demonstration, because now they're protesting both day and night, and all shops are closed. Nothing much is happening. People are hiding their houses. There is nothing much. Internet is not on. It's total blackout, actually. Nothing much is happening.
Oh, yeah? All right.
Yeah.
Would we expect more protests during the swearing in if it were to happen?
Indeed, more is expected from all indications, and even Chadema itself, the opposition party has said right now they are rallying their supporters to also come out in large numbers to join the ongoing protest. So this means we are going to see more of this in the recent time.
What did the Tanzanians say about, the rest of the East African community, perhaps the rest of the world? Because many a times you will hear them say, or perhaps you will hear protesters arguing that they would want to hear what the regional bodies have to say, what, the neighbors have to say. What do they feel? Because we have seen very many leaders coming out to congratulate the Honorable Samia Suluhu upon her win. Correct.
Majority of Tanzanians, indeed, who we have spoken to, and in our routine movement here and there, they are calling upon. Indeed, their first call was for the defense forces to take over the country. That is their first call, and also they are calling on international community to intervene to ensure that the president is not sworn in. So they're expecting much from pressure from the international community on the Samia Suluhu government not to proceed.
Worst case scenario, and perhaps they succeed in stopping the swearing in of Mama Samia Suluhu, what would it mean for Tanzania moving forward?
Well, I wouldn't say there will be a siege because now being the fact that she's already in state of Dodoma and all preparation and arrangements have been made, and state of Dodoma is very far. If I give a correct example, it's more or less like from Nairobi city center to Rongai. So you can see there is a very big gap between the capital city.
I think I've lost you. Hezron, can you hear me? All right, a bit of a twist, and as you all understand, it can be quite difficult to sustain a conversation with persons from Tanzania, but at least I'm sure we have taken so much as to what is happening down there. That is Hezron Obadia. In the event that we are lucky to get him again, we will go back, but all the same, we appreciate your contribution, Hezron, and we can only wish you well. Now, Tanzania has been gripped by unrest as protests continue over President Samia Suluhu Hassan's landslide re-election, with some leaders and international organizations offering congratulations amid growing domestic, concern. The wake of Tanzania's presidential election, and now the streets of major towns such as Dar es Salaam, Arusha and Mwanza have become epicenters of the unrest. Take a look.
President Samia Suluhu was declared the winner with a staggering 97.66% of the vote, securing a first full term in office since first assuming office in 2021 following the death of her predecessor John Pombe Magufuli. However, the announcement has sparked widespread protest, with demonstrators decrying the exclusion of major opposition parties from the race. The main opposition party, Chadema, barred from participating in the election, has dismissed Suluhu's victory and stated that it does not recognize Samia Suluhu Hassan as the president of the United Republic of Tanzania, highlighting she has not been elected by the people of Tanzania. The party has further urged the international community not to recognize Samia Suluhu as the leader of Tanzania, as she lacks legitimacy. Despite the domestic turmoil, international reactions have been swift, with some supportive. The African Union, through its chairperson Mahmoud Ali Youssef, has congratulated Samia Suluhu for her victory, while also noting the loss of human life during the post-electoral protests. The European Union, in a statement, has noted with concern the events that occurred throughout the election day and that are still ongoing, including violence, internet shutdown, and reports of election irregularities. The EU has now called on for the release of all detained politicians and for a fair trial of those arrested on a sound legal basis. As the nation braces for further demonstrations, the world watches closely as Tanzania, a country of over 68 million people, stands at a crossroads between stability and the growing demand for democratic reform.
All right, and of course, more updates as to that will be coming your way as and when they get to hit the editorial desk. Now, 4 more bodies have been recovered from the Chesongoch landslide tragedy, bringing the death toll to 26. And 26 survivors are currently receiving treatment at the Moi Teaching and Referral Hospital in Eldoret. The Cabinet Secretary for Interior Security, Kipchumba Murkomen, together with other government officials, have visited the area to condole with families that lost their loved ones and to deliver government assistance to the affected victims. Mudhoni Brenda with the details of that.
A somber mood still engulfs the Chesongoch area in Elgeyo Marakwet County following the devastating landslide tragedy. Today, 5 more bodies were recovered, raising the number of those who lost their lives to 26. The Moi Teaching and Referral Hospital has received 26 victims of the Chesongoch landslide who are currently undergoing treatment and receiving specialized medical care.
Relax. We have 16 patients.
For now, a multi-agency team comprising the Kenya Defence Forces KDF, the National Police Service NPS, the National Youth Service NYS, and the Kenya Red Cross is continuing rescue operations in the area as efforts intensify to locate 25 people who are still missing. The Cabinet Secretary for Interior Security Kipchumba Murkomen, together with other government officials, have visited the Elgeyo Marakwet area where they came face to face with the devastation left behind by the tragedy.
I think this is a catastrophe that is really very painful to all of us as a country, and I must really appreciate the work that has been done jointly between the Ministry of Interior, the Ministry of Defense, Public Works, county governments, non-state actors, especially led by Red Cross.
The Chesongoch tragedy has left deep sorrow and a trail of many bereaved families. However, rescue efforts and government assistance are ongoing, bringing the hope of saving more survivors. Amid these events, the Speaker of the National Assembly, Moses Wetangula, has urged residents living in landslide-prone areas to move to safer grounds.
Huu ni msimu wa mvua. Na nachukua nafasi hii kutuma rambirambi zetu kama bunge kwa wenzetu kule Elgeyo Marakwet ambao wamepoteza maisha kwa sababu ya maporomoko ya ardhi kutokana na mvua.
This tragedy has raised questions about emergency preparedness, the accountability of the relevant authorities, and the measures that will be taken to prevent such disasters in the future. Mudhoni Brenda for TV47.
And in the same breath, in the hilly village of Chesongoch in Elgeyo Marakwet County, recovery efforts continue after deadly mudslides that swept through homes and farms. At least 26 people have been confirmed dead, with 29 others still missing, and dozens of families have been displaced as rescuers comb through debris in search of survivors and bodies. The pain of those affected only deepens amid growing uncertainty.
More than 1,000 homes are reported destroyed or heavily damaged after heavy rains battered this region, sending torrents of mud, rock and debris cascading down the valley of Chesongoch early Saturday morning. Livestock, crops and entire homesteads were swept away within minutes. As rescue operations intensify, families stare helplessly at what was once a vibrant village, now buried beneath layers of mud.
Wasaidia na chakula, manguo, na venye watakaa balbasuri, mlimani, na watoto kusomeshwa after mtihani.
And while 26 bodies have so far been recovered, another 25 remain missing, the uncertainty weighing heavily on families still searching for loved ones. Displaced families are now seeking refuge in temporary shelters, trying to piece together what's left of their lives. Relief agencies say access to some of the hardest hit areas remains a challenge.
Hawa wanafunzi maybe muweke shule 5 ama shule 6, muweke wafanye mtihani mahali moja. Sababu helikopta ama hakuna gari itaweza, hata bodaboda kutoka Chesoi hata kwenda Embobut ama kutoka hata Embobut kuja Kapchebao hakuna barabara.
Chesongoch has had a tragic history of landslides, with major incidents recorded in 2010 and 2012 and devastating floods in 2020. Despite repeated warnings, vulnerable communities continue to live in high-risk zones. For many here, as the short rains continue, the danger still looms large. Sheila Chalangat for TV47.
Still on a somber note, police in Makindu have launched investigations into determining the cause of death of a second-year nursing student allegedly stabbed by her classmate during a night out at a popular club in Makindu town. The students were reportedly celebrating the end of their attachment period, as Maluse Mishak details.
What was meant to be a night of celebration for 3 nursing students in Makindu, Makueni County turned tragic. One of them losing her life after being stabbed on returning home from a night out with her classmates. The second-year students from Goshen Medical College in Thika had just completed their clinical attachment at Makindu Sub-County Hospital. But their joy quickly turned into sorrow, with one student dead and another under police custody.
So mikupiga simu yake ilichukuliwa na dem fulani hapo.
Witnesses say the three returned home in the dead of the night visibly drunk after a night of drinking and dancing.
Kama dakika 35 naona msichana mmoja ametoka anavuja damu, ameshika mkono kwa shingo.
A report from doctors at Makindu Sub-County Hospital shows that the victim was stabbed in the neck, suffering severe bleeding that led to her death.
Kuchungulia hivi naona wasichana watatu wameingia na vurugu.
Student attaches succumbed to her injuries, secondary to stab wounds.
Police say a third student is currently being held at the Makindu police station to assist in ongoing investigations. Mudhoni Brenda for TV47.
I see we have lots of feedback as to that interview on the question of Tanzania. Some say that certain Tanzanians must be disappointed in the AUC leadership. They have been daily asking for support from the international community. It is unfortunate to see leaders congratulate, of course, what has happened. And some of them saying Mama Suluhu itabidi atafute suluhisho kwa sababu kinachoendelea Tanzania sio kizuri kabisa kwa amani. Tunaomba na Tanzania na wengine wengi, they are also sending their messages, of course, in relation to that. We continue with the broadcast, but for now we pay some bills and then we come back to more news that we have prepared for you. So don't you go anywhere.
No more excuses. It's time to rise, grind, and own your mornings. Join Coach Shadrach Ouma every Monday to Friday from 5:30 to 6 a.m. only on TV47. Full body workouts, zero equipment, maximum results. Start strong, stay strong. TV47 Fitness with Coach Shadrach only on TV47. Looking for the perfect way to kick off your weekend?
Pole. Hiyo ni salamu ya Mluya kabisa.
Tune in to Friday with Betty, the most exciting show on TV.
Betty, one tear gas. Betty, I don't know where this guy's going.
From the latest news and trends to unforgettable moments. Friday with Betty is your go-to show for a fabulous Friday night.
Theological, meteorologist, what is that word, Willis?
Tune in this and every Friday at 9 p.m. and let's make your Fridays unforgettable. Only on TV47. Enjoy uninterrupted live streaming of your favorite programs on TV47 and Radio 47 on the go with our new mobile-friendly website. Experience the future of broadcasting. Visit www.tv47.digital or scan this QR code and stream your way to endless news and entertainment. Welcome to the home of untold stories.
Welcome back. This is the TV47 Weekend Edition. We go to more stories, and he was handpicked as a calm and loyal lieutenant and, of course, the man to steady the ship after Rigathi Gachagua's dramatic exit. Today, Deputy President Professor Kithure Kindiki marks 1 year in office, but questions are emerging about his political future amid reports that President William Ruto may be reevaluating his 2027 ticket, possibly eyeing new allies from Nyanza in a post-Raila Odinga era. Now, our political affairs reporter Mike Kagungo takes stock of Kindiki's 1 year in power and whether Kindiki is truly Noma Sinoma.
I, Kithure Kindiki,
on this day,
do swear,
November 1st, 2024,
that I will always truly and diligently,
Professor Kithure Kindiki took oath as Kenya's third deputy president.
so help me God. So help me God.
A quiet academic from Tharaka Nithi stepping into one of the country's most politically charged offices. A year later, Kindiki has earned praise for discipline and loyalty, but his political footing remains uncertain. His diary has been full, especially in the Mount Kenya region, where he spent most of his weekends consolidating local support. In his first year in office, Deputy President Kithure Kindiki has maintained a visible and active presence across the country. Data from his public engagements shows he has attended 138 events over the past 365 days, with a significant 54 of those taking place in the Mount Kenya region, a reflection of his political roots and influence. Kindiki has also chaired 47 national events, underscoring his growing role in national administration and governance.
And he has gathered experience in dealing with Kenyans, not just people from a certain region.
Vijana ni mbwekse. Ni mbwekse.
From Limuru to Kirinyaga, Kindiki has pitched himself as the moderate stabilizer, calm, religious and loyal to the president. But critics say that very loyalty could cost him politically.
Professor Kindiki, like all vice presidents or deputy presidents, arrives without his own agenda, and he must play up to already scripted text. So there isn't much that one expects to see out of him.
Unlike Gachagua, Professor Kindiki is not an elected deputy president. He's a hand-picked deputy president who has come basically to toe the line which is set by his boss.
Kasongo ni kufinish? Arabe!
Indeed, the 2027 race is already reshaping the political chessboard, and Kindiki's seat may not be guaranteed.
Of our brother.
Sources within the ruling coalition says President William Ruto is weighing a regional realignment following Raila Odinga's death, with an eye on Nyanza, a region long considered out of reach for the Kenya Kwanza government.
As a community, there is something we believe in, that a leader, before he dies, a leader knows his death.
Interest rates have come down, and Kenya is now the 6th largest economy in the world, in Africa. This man, John Badi, anatosha ama atoshi.
Reports from within the ruling coalition suggest that Homa Bay Governor Gladys Wanga and Treasury CS John Mbadi have been mentioned as possible running mate options for Ruto 2027, a strategic move to court Nyanza voters and demonstrate inclusivity.
We can all benefit from the resources of our motherland. Every Kenyan can have a piece of the national cake.
The work of the deputy president, as defined in the constitution, is to be the principal assistant of the president and to carry out the mandate or the assignments given to him by the president.
If such a shift materializes, it could mark the end of Kindiki's one-term tenure or force him to reposition politically.
He carves this image of a Kibaki a person who is quiet, an intellectual, and so on. But Kibaki had something which Kindiki did not have. Kibaki was a fence-sitter.
For now, however, the deputy president remains composed, attending official functions, avoiding controversy and keeping his message about service delivery, not politics.
He has clearly defined in very uncertain times who is a deputy president, because he has shown he's an assistant, he's a principal assistant to the president.
Allies describe him as a man playing the long game, confident that performance, not populism, will secure his place. But Mount Kenya politics is barely that forgiving.
The agitation in Mount Kenya region would have been more fierce, more vehement. But what you find is that upon his appointment as one of the regional scions or sons, there was still that activism, but it was toned down to a more responsible level.
Kithure Kindiki's political scorecard paints the picture of a loyal, disciplined and measured leader, qualities that have earned him respect within government ranks. However, his public visibility and limited grassroots mobilization remain notable weaknesses, especially in a political climate that rewards charisma and connection. His biggest test, though, lies ahead. Growing speculation that President William Ruto could pick a new running mate in 2027, coupled with the emerging Gachagua-Kalonzo alliance, poses a real threat to Kindiki's political future.
So as to 2027, there will be a lot of other determined. You know, by the way, no election is like the other. None. No election is like the other.
Political observers now see three forces shaping Kindiki's next chapter. Gachagua is persistent as a rival voice in the mountain, the emerging Kalonzo-Gachagua handshake threat, and President William Ruto's possible pivot to Nyanza region.
The question is, with the current political activity in the run-up to the 2027 general elections, who will have captured the imagination, the hearts and the soul of the Mount Kenya people?
Each one poses a different test, and together they make his one-year celebration feel less like a victory lap and more like a warning shot. For the professor from Tharaka Nithi, the first year has been about loyalty and learning. The next may well be about survival in a government juggling shifting alliances and restless regions. Whether Noma si Noma, that only 2027 will tell. Mike Kagwongo, TV47, Nairobi.
Fire, see fire, only time can tell. And a section of opposition politicians led by former Deputy President Rigathi Gachagua have faulted the government for allegedly condemning meetings among professionals and leaders, arguing that such gatherings are often unfairly profiled as tribal, emphasizing that such meetings promote unity and cultural pride.
You cannot say politics is dirty. By you staying away, the country is dirty because of bad governance and poor leaders.
And I join my brother Rigiji. We need to get quality in the National Assembly. James Orengo is senior counsel. Even the Senator Kisumu is senior counsel. Otiendo Molo is senior counsel. Let us also now go for quality. Remember, we used to have Paul Muite from the mountain. Paul Muite is now grown a little age. Sindio?
This brings peace amongst our people and stability. And we want to encourage all the other groups, all the other cultures, wherever they are. We want to ask them to celebrate their own cultures in their own way. So because we know when they remain peaceful and they have peaceful coexistence amongst their own cultures, then as a country we are going to have peace across board.
We want more intellectuals. We want them to be in parliament. We want to be in politics because parliament is the largest board of directors. It controls more than 4 trillion. And therefore, we are telling professionals, you can't be part of the problem.
Still on the same note, tensions rise in Mount Kenya as a section of Kenya Kwanza leaders hit back, accusing DCP party leader Rigathi Gachagua of disrespect and bitterness. This comes a day after Gachagua slammed the region's member of parliament, calling them less educated and easily compromised, remarks that have drawn sharp criticism from his former allies.
Mimi huzuni yangu ni wale ambaye watu wanatoka hapa mlimani wanatembea na Gethenji, akitukana sisi kama jamii, akituita wakabila, akitukosea heshima.
Just a day after the DCP party leader Rigathi Gachagua criticized the leaders of Mount Kenya, accusing them of betraying their own backyard, his former allies in Kenya Kwanza, led by Majority Leader Kimani Ichung'wah, have struck back, accusing Gachagua of disrespect and bitterness.
Deputy President former akiwa ulienda nyumbani, let go of bitterness, let go of pain. Hata Addis Ng'ang'a alikuwa mjumbe 2017 akaenda nyumbani akaomba Mungu, ule Mungu ambaye anaonanga roho za watu akanirudisha 2022.
Na nakubaliana na mama Alice Ng'ang'a. Wacha hasira, wacha chuki, wacha kupiganisha watu.
Wengine wanatukana watu kama Wamashukuru atijua naitwa washindwe katika jina la washindwe katika jina la.
The leaders went on to defend Mount Kenya legislators, insisting they were chosen fairly by the people and no one, not even the former DP, had the right to question the voters' decision, thus urging him to move on from his impeachment saga and allow them to focus on serving Kenyans.
And just tell you, allow us to work for our people. Siasa ni mwaka ujao, tukutane kwa barabara. But for now, let us respect one another. Tuheshimiane.
Na mimi nimwambie naibu former deputy president, mimi ni kijana mdogo sana. Mimi ni rika ya watoto wako. Haiwezi, na mimi situmiangi siasa ya kiburi, situmiangi siasa ya matusi.
The remarks came during a fundraiser in Thika supporting the development of 24 churches. Mike Kagwango, TV47.
Thank you, Mike, for that. President William Ruto has today concluded his 4-day tour of the Western region, where he oversaw the launch of numerous development projects amounting to billions of shillings. Politics of the 2027 general election dominated the tour, with a section of ODM lawmakers pledging full support beyond 2027.
After 4 days of launching multi-billion shilling projects across the Western region, President William Ruto wrapped up his visit by attending a Sunday service at the African Divine Church in Gamalenga, Vihiga County. Ruto took to stage drumming up support for his Kenya Kwanza administration development agenda.
I am asking members of parliament, I am asking all leaders, we will be presenting proposals to parliament in the next few weeks on how to move Kenya from a third world country to a first world country. We need to deal with the challenge of infrastructure. We need possibly 1.5 trillion shillings to deal with roads, rail, and airports.
Politics ahead of the 2027 general elections took center stage at today's event, with ODM legislators including Jared Okello of Nyando and Elisha Odhiambo of Gem appearing to differ with their party's recent position and pledging support for President Ruto in the next general election.
Mimi nitakuwa sasa director ya 2 term. Na usitishwe na vijana dogo. At my age now, I've done politics in this country. If vijana dogo hapa kwa ODM, iteni polepole.
We as a community are now certified orphans. And I've never seen any orphan giving conditionalities. And therefore, our quest to work with you and to lend you support is both unequivocal and unconditional.
Cabinet secretaries accompanying the president, led by Prime CS Musalia Mudavadi, also urged residents of the Western region to heed the government's call and rally behind its development agenda.
Kama ni meli inaitwa MV broad based, meli kubwa.
Kama governors wa Western tumekubaliana kwa kauli moja kwamba sisi tutakuunga mkono na tuko kwa broad based government.
During his tour, President Ruto launched various projects, including the construction of numerous roads, affordable housing units, hospitals, and other initiatives aimed at improving livelihoods across the region. Arnold Adidi, TV47, Vihiga.
Away from politics and to a rather unfortunate piece, a family at Mawangi village in Webuye West constituency, Bungoma County, is crying for justice after their daughter Jane Alela, a third-year student at the University of Nairobi, was murdered by a suspect who is currently being held by police for further investigations. This story was reported or produced by Wanji Sustin.
A somber mood has engulfed Mawangi village in Webuye West constituency in Bungoma County following the mysterious killing of Jane Alela, a third-year student at the University of Nairobi. According to the mother of the deceased, Lucy Mwangele, the man who killed her daughter had demanded 2,500 shillings before releasing her. The family managed to send 1,000 shillings, but later Jane was brutally murdered and her body dumped in Kefri Mugoga Forest, where it was found on October 17, 4 days after she had been reported missing.
Vile mzee aliasha simu, huyo mtu pia alitumia na hiyo simu ya Jane kupiga simu, na mzee yangu akashika. Bila alishika hiyo simu, huyo mtu akakataa kuongea na mzee. Bila alisikia sauti ya mzee hakuongea tena.
Mwangele says her daughter had been the family's hope, but now they lack even the means to transport her body home for burial, urging well-wishers to intervene.
Ameniachia hapa mtoto wake. Mimi sina nyumba na mbele, na usanga tu ndizi na mtoto kwa mgongo. Ndio hata wapata hata kukula kwa siku shuleni, wako wawili huko.
Tunasema kwa kitu yenye hatujui kama huyu mwili itatufikia ama itatufikia, kwa sababu sisi ni wadhaifu bila mnatuona. Tunahitaji msaada wenu.
As the suspect remains in police custody for further investigations, residents have condemned the act, calling for a thorough probe, however urging the National Assembly to enact laws to protect students.
Ni ukosefu wa nini katika kila wakati ni vyuo vikuu, mtoto amekufa. Vyuo tunaposema saa hii utasikia kesho. Tunataka haki ya huyu mtoto ipatikane.
The suspect, Nicholas Mutua, aged 34, believed to have been her boyfriend according to the DCI, was arraigned at the Kikuyu Law Court on 25th last month, where the prosecution was granted 21 days to complete investigations. The case will be mentioned again on the 13th of November.
A middle-aged couple in Nairobi has given up hope of expanding their family after losing 5 babies moments after birth. The couple, who already have one partially paralyzed child, says that they had long hoped for more children but have now decided to stop trying to conceive, fearing for the mother's life and emotional well-being. Our reporter Elizabeth Atieno visited the family and filed this report.
In Nairobi's Babadogo area, we meet Kelvin Odhiambo, a man in despair but clinging to hope. He and his wife have lost 5 children, some just weeks after birth, and in some cases only hours.
Hii kilikuwa nasumbua kabisa. Kwa nini? Na mamake akijaribu ili apate mwingine at least anaweza mtolea hii machozi, bado anakufa. Hii kitu inasumbua kabisa.
It all began in 2017 when he married his wife. They were blessed with their first child in July of the same year. They traveled to Nyanza for the December holidays and returned to Nairobi in January 2018. But 2 weeks later, their firstborn developed health complications that went undiagnosed. Today, their child, who is 8 years old, is paralyzed and epileptic.
Walikuwa wanasema kuna sickle cell, but tena kumrudisha huko wanasema sasa hana ugonjwa yote. Kusaya kuna kitu kama 3 years kama tumii dawa yote. Udhu kitu wenye kujanga mara moja, unapata saa nyingine hako tu mzuri, unasema kama kitu sana sana kama kuna baridi ama kuna kelele. Hatuwezi kugombana kwa hii nyumba kwetu wezi. Yeye atagonjeka. Ama utaona kama mkasema ameanza kupiga kichwa hivi. Hatuwezi kugombana kwa hii nyumba. Ama maybe kuna maandamano, kuna tear gas mpaka hiyo kitu mshike. Inamkujanga mpaka anazirai mpaka ananyamaza kabisa. Akisa kojoa hiyo kitu inakuja naisha.
In 2020, his wife Rose Andati became pregnant again, but 2 months before her due date, she went into labor and had to undergo a cesarean section. Tragically, their newborn died just a week after delivery.
Sikuchoka. Nilisema tu maybe hiyo haikuwa yangu. Wangu baby Mungu akatampea. Tukakuja kwa nyumba. Although mamaka alikuwa na uchungu sana. Kusijua CS na kitu amefanywa CS pia jarudi naye kwa nyumba. Although nilikuwa namtia nguvu nikamwambia maybe hiyo haikuwa wangu. Mungu atatupea wetu.
In 2022, Rose became pregnant once more. They were thrilled to learn they were expecting twins. However, their happiness was short-lived.
Kufika tu hivi walizaa mtoto mmoja normal. But alizaa kama ameshakufa. Mwingine kwa sababu walikuwa twins. Mwingine akapelekwa CS, wenye alipelekwa CS. Walimaliza kufanya tu CS hivi. Mtoto akakufa.
2 years later, when Rose was 8 months into her 4th pregnancy, she experienced excruciating stomach pain. She was rushed to the hospital, but once again, complications arose.
Kufika huko, alijisaidia mzuri. But kujisaidia, walisema ati mtoto amejisaidia kama mtoto ameshakufa already. Hiyo kitu ilinisumbua kabisa. Ilinisumbua nikajiuliza kwa nini kitu kinafanyikia. Kila time kwa nini mimi?
Kelvin and his wife did not lose hope. They decided to try again. On the 5th of October 2025, Rhoda underwent another cesarean section, but tragically, the baby did not survive.
Kufika hapo, huyu daktari akaniambia enda kuja newborn babies, nikapanda hapo first floor Kenyatta. Akakaa na mimi chini, tukaongea, akanielezea venye ilikuwa, akasema ati mtoto, tulijaribu mtoto alizaliwa tu alitolewa akiwa sawa, but though breathing system ilikuwa chini. Heartbeat yake haikuwa sawa. Tulijaribu kungangana, tukakangana. But mbaya, after 2 hours, mtoto alikuja kapasa.
Kelvin stares at the clothes they had bought for their much-anticipated children, who have since succumbed just moments after birth.
Nimepitia kwa hii life. Mimi tangu nione kuna kitu mazuri nimeona.
According to medical reports, Rose has been experiencing preeclampsia during her pregnancy, a serious complication characterized by high blood pressure, most commonly after 20 weeks of gestation. Although Rose and Kelvin long for the warmth, touch, and the gentle embrace of another child, they have made peace with the fact that they may not have another.
Nasema siwezi risk life yake atumtafuta mtoto ili akufa tutoeli tulikuwa na mtoto. Nilisema hiyo.
They now live by faith, hoping that their situation may improve when they visit a doctor in a month. The doctor will examine their blood groups and explore any medical factors that could be causing the repeated infant deaths. Elizabeth Atieno, TV47, Nairobi.
And now a humanitarian crisis has hit Kihoto Estate in Naivasha as rising waters from Lake Naivasha continue to displace thousands. In just 48 hours, over 4,000 residents have been forced to flee. And now the largest single water surge in decades. Experts warn of grimmer days ahead, blaming poor environmental safeguards, that is from the lake's source in the Aberdares to its outlet. Our reporter Willie Dennis Njeru brings you this special report.
Na mimi ninalipwa, mimi ni mtu wa maua, mimi ninalipwa 10,000.
Day over the past 2 months, here hope is dawning fast.
Hapa Naivasha tumevamiwa na maji Kyoto. Swali langu ni, our president, unaona hii women rep, senator, governor, where are you, our MCA?
Lake sasa hii ni mambo ya natural calamity. Hii kama inatokea huko mambo ya rising weather condition. Si hata Lake Baringo iko hivi tu. Hivi Lake Nakuru. Kwa hivyo inaonyesha hii haita recede tena, haitaenda sana hata kama inarudi.
Climate change is a major one. We have rising water levels now, destroying the infrastructure in the Great Rift Valley lakes. We're trying to investigate that, and together with pollution and all these other issues, is a major challenge, and that we are addressing under the wildlife research agenda. That's so that we know the drivers, we know how they can be addressed.
Most residents here come from humble backgrounds, casual laborers in flower farms and small traders, struggling to make ends meet, only to come home one evening to find their houses swallowed by the lake.
Mimi si ati nikukataa, ninakataa kuhama. Kama ningekuwa na pesa ningehama, but sai ni mwisho, but hatujapewa pesa kuongea tu ukweli.
Families rush to save what they can, furnitures, utensils and their children, while others are trying to move their small businesses to higher grounds. They say nature has struck without warning.
Sai wanyama wametoka kwa maji, viboko sai ziko nje ya gate. Serikali woi, alo.
Those moving to safer estates complain of rising rent and harsh conditions imposed by landlords before signing new leases.
Huko kwingine tukienda kuhama, landlords wamepandisha bei. Unakuta a single room inaenda for around 5k. And yet watu wengi hapa they are vulnerable. This is an informal settlement.
Deposit 10,000. Hiyo pesa yote mimi ninatoa wapi? Na mimi ninalipwa, mimi ni mtu wa maua, mimi ninalipwa 10,000. Sijapata pesa ya transport. Sijapata pesa ya transport.
Waelewe nyinyi hii si mambo ya si raha, wasiwaitishe deposit.
Others have chosen to stay, keeping vigil despite the heavy rains and worsening weather conditions. Ironically, even with water all around, there is no clean water for cooking or washing. The shallow water table has made wells unstable and sanitation almost impossible.
Desperate, very, very desperate situation. It cannot even be a county issue. This needs to be the national government issue. But the recommendation of the committee that time was that they be given alternative land because they hold titles for that land ambayo imezama kwa maji sasa. So there is a report in parliament. I'm going to look for it so that it is implemented. Otherwise that place, because of climate change, the water has come even where it didn't reach that side. Imekuja mpaka hapa. So the government needs to take care of those people. The government needs to take it over.
Health risks are growing by day. Malaria, cholera, typhoid, pneumonia and bilharzia as flooded latrines and stagnant pools turn into disease hotspots.
Magonjwa yataanza kuchibuka mahali hapa. Tunaomba uhamisho wa haraka iwezekanavyo. Saizi ukiangalia watu wako devastated. Tangia jana watu hawajakula, hakuna mahali pa kupikia chakula, hakuna mahali pa kulala. Wale watu wazee ambao walinunua haya mashamba zamani sana wamekuwa wagonjwa. Tunauliza hivi wana Kenya wenzetu, Kenyans for Kenyans. Yes. Tunaomba mtusaidie.
Locals now call for this to be treated as a national disaster, just like recent Mai Mahiu floods, urging the government intervention and humanitarian aid.
Kama ni ile time yenye Mai Mahiu watu walikuwa wanakufa, we saw you, na mlikuwa mnafika huko hivyo on time. Do you need us we died so that you come here? Kama ni kukufa mngekuwa hapa hivi mkikuja kuonyesha sympathy. Why don't you help people who need help? This one is a national disaster. Na tunasema wakuje watusaidie. Hapa mahali ni halali. Kwa nini ni halali? Serikali imeweka hapa barabara, imeweka stima, hapa kuna police station, hapa hao watu ambao wanaishi hapa wako na title deed. Kumaanisha namna gani? Ni kumaanisha ya kwamba serikali inajua ya kwamba hao watu wako hapa, sababu katika stakabadhi za serikali hasa title deeds za hii mashamba ipo. Kama ni ile time yenye Mai Mahiu watu walikuwa wanakufa, we saw you, na mlikuwa mnafika huko hivyo on time. Do you need us we died so that you come here? Kama ni kukufa mngekuwa hapa hivi mkikuja kuonyesha sympathy. Why don't you help people who need help?
The county government has dispatched 5 trucks to help relocate residents, but the demand far outweighs the available support.
This one is a national disaster. Na tunasema wakuje watusaidie. Hapa mahali ni halali. Kwa nini ni halali? Serikali imeweka hapa barabara, imeweka stima, hapa kuna police station, hapa hao watu ambao wanaishi hapa wako na title deed. Kumaanisha namna gani? Ni kumaanisha ya kwamba serikali inajua ya kwamba hawa watu wako hapa, sababu katika stakabadhi za serikali hasa title deeds za hii mashamba ipo.
Transporters like Zach Munene say this is their business season, yet making several trips daily to ferry displaced families to safer towns as far as Gilgil, nearly 30 kilometers away.
Siku ya leo nimehamisha watu karibu 4-5 ambapo wameteseka sana, na tunatoka hapa, wengine tunapeleka Gilgil, wengine Kayole, wengine Kalakta. Hata saa hizi ninataka kuchukua zingine nipeleke site, na bado nikitoka hiyo nitachukua ingine nipeleke Gilgil. So watu wanateseka huku na maji, na ilikuja ghafla kwa siku 2 maji ikajaa na imefika mahali haijawahi fika.
The water level has now reached the historic 1906 mark, 2,100 feet above sea level, the limit once designated as the lake's safe buffer zone. Experts say poor land use decisions that turn farmland into residential estates ignored these natural boundaries.
Because the government of Kenya is the one that first surveyed Kihoto, allocated it as land for agricultural use. Then later, the same government approved subdivision of this parcel and allocated it to 30 individuals. Cleanly, the same government approved the use of Kihoto from agricultural land to residential and mixed use. It is the same government that provided infrastructure, supporting infrastructure within Kihoto, the road, the water supply, the electricity power supply. It is the same government that provided that. So the leadership in this government and other previous governments cannot come and play innocent and blame the community of Kihoto. It is a mess that was created by government, and I can still authoritatively say that it is only the government of Kenya that can fix the mess they established by creating Kihoto.
Scientists are now calling for urgent research to determine the real cause of the rising Rift Valley lake levels, with locals blaming siltation and blocked underground outlets.
We need to understand what is driving the rising water level in the Great Rift Valley lakes, in Naivasha, in Nakuru, because it's now continuous. Before it was like it is a phenomenon happening after 30 years, but now we have seen it occurring throughout. And that is something that we have focused on, and will require different experts to nail down what is leading to this for proper planning.
Lake Naivasha has no visible outlets, but beneath it lie the Olkaria geothermal fields, believed to play a role in underground drainage, alongside Lake Elementaita and others, now possibly blocked.
Hii lake iko na mchanga mwingi sana, kwa sababu wakati mvua inanyesha kutoka Kinangop yote inakuja na hiyo mawe yote, matope yote, mchanga yote inakuja kwa hii lake. Number 3, hii lake haina outlet ilifungika. So hii maji yote ndio unaona saa hii imekuja hapa Kihoto.
Previously, a papyrus fringe and acacia woodland acted as the lake's natural buffer. Today, only a handful of papyrus patches remain along the Malewa River, allowing silt to flow directly into the lake.
Ninaona hii kwamba ni negligence ya State Department ambayo inahusika na maeneo ya maji. Manake hii lake imekuwa ikiingia mchanga mpaka ikajaa mpaka pahali ambapo tupo. Sasa tunataka kusema hivi, mumeneglect mpaka watu wakakutwa na maji. Mfanye mpango, gavana wa hapa akuje. Hii ni national disaster. Tunauliza viongozi wote ambao wanahusika na maeneo hii, na hasa mpaka president ajue hawa watu wameishi hapa na anajua hii eneo, kwa sababu mara nyingi sana amekuja hapa kuomba kura.
The rising waters threaten aquatic life, with fingerlings losing their shallow breeding zones and hippos increasingly clashing with humans.
Hii maji inatukuja huku haina filter, inakuja huku inakuja kutapakaa kwetu, na hakuna pe direction iko, pesa ya madam zililetwa huku na wananchi wanashinda evacuatiwa huku na maji na hakuna solution enye hata wananchi wanakuja hao wenye tuliwachagua hakuna pe tunaona kwa ground.
Landlords now admit settling here was a mistake, calling on the national government to relocate residents permanently.
Hii serikali isaidie watu. Kama ni mambo ya replacement, wajue. Kama ni mambo ya kuchukua plots, watajua vile watafanya. Lakini walisetu.
Meanwhile, security agencies have increased patrols to ensure safety amid the growing humanitarian crisis. This is the third major flooding event since 2022, but by far the worst. Experts say the heavy flows from the Malewa and Karate rivers, combined with continuous rains, have pushed the lake beyond its limits. How long the waters keep rising, no one knows. Ever since the demarcation of this place, Kehoto Estate, as a residential place, what has been witnessed here is nothing that has gone into records in the yesteryears. The locals say the catastrophe witnessed here probably it is as a result of climate change. As you watch this item tonight, stop to Rudy 10.
We get sporty. Benson Kipruto and Helen Obiri led Kenyan podium sweeps of the New York City Marathon. Kipruto edged countryman Alexander Mutiso with both clocking 2 hours, 8 minutes, 9 seconds, while Albert Correa wrapped up the Kenyan podium sweep. In the ladies category, the two-time Olympic silver medalist clocked Helen Obiri smashed the 22-year-old course record of 2 hours, 22 minutes, 31 seconds, set by Margaret Okayo, as she clocked 2 hours, 19 minutes and 51 seconds, while Sharon Lukedi and Sheila Chepkirui settled for the second and third position. Congratulations to them. Now, Gor Mahia have registered a 1-1 draw in the match day 7 of the SportPesa League fixture played at the Kasarani Stadium. Now, Felix Oluoch opened the scoring early in the 6th minute, giving Kogalo a lead before Boniface Mushiri struck in the 34th minute, forcing both teams to share the spoils. And meanwhile, AFC Leopards stunned Mathare United 2-0. Muranga Seal defeated KCB 2-1, while Kakamega Homeboys played to a 1-1 draw against Tusker.
Koplo amesema ni bibi Boniface Mushiri kwa mara kwanza Pano Mondi anaruhusu goli tangia kusajiliwa ndani ya Gor Mahia.
It was a very difficult game. This time around, we didn't really do what we ought to do in terms of compactness, in terms of pressing, counter-press and all that. We allowed them to play, but we weren't too scared. After a while in the second half, we were a little bit worried because it has taken them too long, and then gives the opponent the hope that there's a belief that they can win. And sometimes it can be very dangerous before you realize you are losing. But thank God we didn't lose. We played well in the setting minutes of the game. Not totally, we didn't dominate totally.
Makosa madogo yalifanyika na wachezaji walijua kwamba hii ni kitu ambacho tulikuwa tumezungumzia katika training zetu wiki mzima, tukijua kwamba maybe set piece zao kuna namna ambavyo wanazipiga, no, so tulipeana assignment maybe kidogo mmoja ama wawili walilala, ndio maana tukaconsider. Otherwise other than that tulikubaliana whatever happens in whatever minute we don't lose concentration, we just play according to instruction, then see what happens.
And it's been a dream season for Nairobi United FC. Formed in 2018, the club has risen from underdogs in the lower leagues to contenders on the continental stage. From a magical promotion to the Premier League to a fairy tale run in the CAF Confederation Cup, the Nairobi boys are rewriting a football history, and a coach, Nicholas Muyoti, Duncan Mutua, has been following their incredible journey. Take a look.
Fresh from their historic qualification for the CAF Confederation Cup group stage, after edging out Tunisia's Alela du Sahel in the second round qualifiers, Nairobi United FC were brought back down to earth with a 3-0 defeat to Sofapaka in the SportPesa League fixture. But let's set that defeat aside for a moment. The 2024-2025 football season will forever be remembered by Nairobi United fans as a season of miracles, dreams, and historic triumphs.
I think it's a wonderful job from the players. Hongera, 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 Nairobi United.
It's the season they earned promotion to the Kenya Premier League and secured a ticket to the CAF Confederation Cup, Africa's stage for top clubs.
Season tumeanza poa na nadhani inatokana na the teamwork that ile tumekuwa nayo. I think ukiangalia department zote katika teams zinafanya kazi.
Their victory in the last season's FKF Cup opened a new chapter in the club's story. Their gateway to continental football, where Africa's greats showcase their mighty.
Playing in the Confederation Cup, I think in the Confederation Cup we played 4 matches, 2 away, 2 home, and of course again with good performance because the first 2 matches gave us an opportunity to go to the second knockout, and of course the second knockout we played very well at home, and of course getting a good result, maybe losing but in penalty winning in away in Tunis, and advance in first time history in Kenya in a group stages.
To strengthen their squad, Nairobi United moved fast in the transfer market, signing Harambee Stars utility man Manzuro Kwaro from KCB, Prince Bugea from Rwanda's Rayon Sports, Shami Mwinyi from Posta Rangers, Ovelo Chieng from FC Leopard, Kefa Swani from South Sea Rangers, among others.
The squad, we have a young squad, energetic, and I think we are having a good run.
As the 2025-2026 season kicked off, expectations were sky high. In their opening 4 Premier League matches, Nairobi United proved they still have the spark, winning against Bidco United and Kakamega Homeboys before falling to Mara Sugar and Sofapaka.
Ligi ina changamoto zake. Tuliwin game ya kwanza, tukapoteza ya pili, tukawin ya tatu, na ilikuwa experience mzuri sana, especially kwa wale ambao ndo ni mara yao ya kwanza.
We have good team where they can compete in the league. In the Confederation group stages, we have to beef up some few things, some few areas.
Many doubted their ability to stand toe-to-toe with Kenya's football giants. But in the Confederation Cup, they silenced critics, knocking out NEC of Uganda and the mighty Alela du Sahel of Tunisia. Now, the group stage awaits.
Tunisia na ile mambo tuliona, nadhani Mwenyezi Mungu tu ndo anajua vile tulitoboa. Haikuwa rahisi, they were very hostile and in each and every way, but tunashukuru tuliweza kuvuka hiyo phase.
Nilikuwa so aggressive na nilikuwa so determined kusevizo mapena. Juu nilijua mali inaweza nifikisha na mali itafikisha timu yetu.
The first 2 matches gave us an opportunity to go to the second knockout, and of course the second knockout we played very well at home, and of course getting a good result, maybe losing but in penalty winning in away in Tunis, and advance in first time history in Kenya in a group stages.
The coach Nicholas Muyoti, the Nairobi boys have learned that every match now carries special importance.
Tutatake match at a time, na ni very I think ni season tunaangalia very important lessons zile zitatusaidia in future.
The positive side is we have a match every weekend. If you get good result, the result or the target will be there at the end of the season.
The Confederation Cup draw will be conducted tomorrow.
Yeah, I'm happy so far, so good. I think vijana wana adapt poa na vizuri, wanasikiza na okay, wako ready kuwork, na that's important. Tunajua ile uzito iko katika ligi na hizo competitions zingine zote, lakini muhimu ni hiyo depth, na tuko na depth mzuri, ile itatusaidia sana katika hizo competitions zinakuja.
Hatuku expect maybe tutaanza season venye tumeanza, but tunashukuru Mungu and yeah, tuko on it right now na iko sawa.
Duncan Mutua, TV47 Sports.
And that sports story by Duncan closes it for us. Thank you so much for trusting us to be the persons to disseminate news to you. We look forward to bring you more, so make sure that you keep it at TV47. It was great having you from the moment we began with Tanzania up until now. The TV47 Weekend Edition says goodbye. My name is Linda Alela, and of course appreciating the sign language interpreter, none other than Valine Owino. Have yourself a lovely night.